This is Eyewitness News on LA56 with live breaking news.
Breaking news, a watery mess in Westwood, a huge water main break flooding parts of the UCLA campus, cars submerged, trapping people and shutting down Sunset Boulevard in both directions. Good evening, I'm David Ono.
And I'm Colleen Sullivan. Welcome to Eyewitness News on LA56. Crews have shut down a large water main pipe that burst shortly before 3:30 this afternoon. You are looking live from ABC7 HD, where the water is no longer gushing like it was several hours ago. Eyewitness News reporter Melissa McBride is live in Westwood, where a news conference is about to get underway. Melissa?
Colleen, where we are, we're on Sunset Boulevard and Marymount Place, and so we're about 100 yards away from where that main ruptured earlier today, and crews are able to finally get the water to stop flowing just about 20 minutes ago from what they tell us. LADWP crews right now are pumping out the water that's in a sinkhole. It's about 15 feet wide. They've also been clearing away big chunks of asphalt that broke apart when the 30-inch main ruptured this afternoon. It created a massive geyser on Sunset Boulevard. The LADWP says the main was a high-velocity pipe that carries water from the Upper Stone Canyon Reservoir and flows at 75,000 gallons per minute. The pipe was 90 years old. All that water flowed onto the UCLA campus and onto Sunset Boulevard, causing damage to the newly renovated Poly Pavilion. Several inches of water pooled on the basketball court. The Bruins basketball arena underwent a $133 million makeover back in 2012, and it's unknown at this early point just how costly the repairs will be from all of this flooding today. Now, parking lots 4 and 7 were also inundated with water. The fire department says 5 people who tried to get to their cars were swept off their feet because of the fast-flowing water. The LADWP says that it had to gradually stop the flow of water, and that took more than 3 hours.
This is a considerable size main, a 30-inch main. If they were to just shut down this water, they would create a water hammer, which would cause breaks further down the line and impact every other systems that are underneath the ground that we can't see.
City officials realize that here we are in a drought, so this is terrible timing to have a pipe gushing 75,000 gallons a minute for more than 3 hours, but they say that that was the best way to avoid further damage to the system. Now, Sunset Boulevard remains closed between Hillgard and Veteran. What they'll be doing is sucking out all of the water that's in that sinkhole, then filling it, and then making repairs to the road. No estimate on how long all of that is going to take. There is a news conference that's going to be getting underway shortly, just a couple blocks from where I am, and we hope to bring you the latest at the bottom of the hour. Reporting live in Westwood, I'm Melissa McBride, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Melissa, thank you for that report. And yes, we are continuing to monitor the press conference that's supposed to get underway at any minute. We will bring it to you live. In the meantime, that's the picture of it overhead. A remarkable difference from earlier today. Let's go to Bill Thomas in ABC7 HD. Bill?
David, we've been here since 4 o'clock. That first report of the rupture came in about 3:24 this afternoon. If you look deep through that water, you should be able to see that enormous water pipe, a 30-inch in diameter pipe. The pipe's in the average home about a ½ inch in diameter, so you can see how huge that is. And they got the pumps in place right now. They're trying to suck all that water out. That's the 10,600 block of Sunset Boulevard right in front of the UCLA campus. Melissa told you what was happening on the campus. I want to give you an illustration of that. We're going to take you over to Poly Pavilion on the campus, which suffered some damage. Apparently, water seeped onto the campus, through the field, over to Poly Pavilion and inside Poly Pavilion, and they have done a good job of trying to clear all the water from the steps. They have made some progress there, but some damage inside. Drake Field is off to the right, and that was one of the first portions of the campus to get flooded very rapidly. No injuries, but 3 people did have to be rescued from cars that were stranded on the campus due to all that flooding. I want to show you some detours right now in the area because there's that full closure on Sunset Boulevard at Hillgard to the east and at Veteran off to the west. Traffic is being very effectively detoured around the area. Here is westbound Sunset Boulevard right at Hillgard. The traffic control in place right now, and we have traffic control officers trying to redirect traffic. Tilt up just a bit. You'll see the barriers in the street. There they are. Sunset at Hillgard. You will be detoured around if you try to get to the area. Eastbound Sunset, that's being detoured southbound onto your choice, either Veteran or perhaps Sepulveda Boulevard. Take that down to Wilshire. Eastbound on Wilshire, north on Beverly Glen. That brings you right back to Sunset. We'll keep you updated on the progress that DWP and rescue crews make throughout the remainder of the evening. And live from ABC7 HD, I'm Bill Thomas, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
All right, Bill, thank you. And yes, we're continuing to monitor that press conference. It has not started yet. In the meantime, it was pure chaos this afternoon. We're hearing from UCLA students and other Westwood residents caught in today's massive flooding.
It's kind of like a movie. It kind of reminds me of the Universal Studios earthquake thing, where you have everything shaking up, helicopters, and then water gushing everywhere.
I don't know. It's pretty horrible. I've just been finding out about the water issues that LA has and the drought that's going on. So it's pretty devastating to see all this water flushing around here.
I heard a bunch of people running. I wanted to see what it was. I walked out. I saw all this flooding. I walked down here. I was like, you know what? If I can help out, I might as well help out. I saw Rich walking around with sandbags, so I just joined in and did what I could.
All right, there is that hole in the ground and that remarkable sight. We saw so much water pouring out of that just a couple of hours ago, and it has been shut down right now. So I want to give you just the highlights from what we know so far. First of all, a large 30-inch diameter water main broke, flooding the streets and parts of the UCLA campus. 2 parking structures were flooded, including Drake Track and Field Stadium, Pauley Pavilion. That's what Bill gave you a little look around at that. The LA Fire Department says 3 people had to be rescued from their cars. Several vehicles could be seen stranded in the water. Sunset Boulevard is now closed, understandably. It's closed in both directions. It is still unclear yet when it'll reopen. Fortunately, no injuries have been reported. So stay with Eyewitness News for continuing coverage of the Westwood water main break and the massive flooding. We are continuing to monitor the situation when it comes to that live press conference. As soon as it begins, we'll bring it to you. We assume that there will be some of these important questions answered. Live updates just minutes away as well.
In other news tonight at 8 o'clock, a 55-year-old man has been found guilty of killing his roommate, an Iraq War veteran. Prosecutors say the defendant left a trail of evidence that led to his conviction. Orange County Bureau Chief Elaine Frere has reaction to the verdict.
Family and friends of the victim hug outside the courtroom. Just a short time earlier, they nervously listened as the clerk read the verdict.
We, the jury, in the above entailed action, find the defendant, Kwang Choi Joy, guilty of the crime of felony.
Kwang Choi Joy, or Casey Joy, found guilty of the second-degree murder of his 36-year-old roommate, Maribel Ramos, an Iraq War veteran about to graduate from Cal State Fullerton.
It was a unique case in that we didn't have a cause of death. The coroner opined it was a homicide based on unspecified means or manner.
Ramos disappeared last May 2013. Her body was discovered 2 weeks later in a shallow grave in Santiago Canyon. During the trial, the prosecutor said Joy loved Ramos, but she didn't feel the same way. He realized he was losing her. The prosecutor alleges Ramos was afraid of Joy when she called 911 just days before her murder. The defense argued the case was full of holes. There was no evidence of what happened, no exact cause of death, no way to rule out suicide. The prosecutor reminded jurors circumstantial evidence was just as strong as direct evidence. Joy had cuts and scratches on his body after Ramos disappeared. Prosecutors allege he also lied about her whereabouts. He told Eyewitness News he had nothing to do with her disappearance.
She's my best friend. Actually, she's my only friend, only family member I have. So I miss her.
Prosecutors stressed Joy himself led investigators to the crime scene with a virtual drive-by.
His Google Maps search that was being monitored by the authorities at the library was what led the authorities to Maribel's body. So that was a huge turning point in this case.
The defense attorney declined to comment after the verdict was read. Casey Joy faces up to 15 years to life in prison. His sentencing is scheduled for September 12th. In Santa Ana, Eileen Frere, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Local civil rights activists are calling for a federal investigation into the beating of a homeless woman by a CHP officer earlier this month. Earl Afari Hutchinson, head of the LA Urban Policy Roundtable, filed a request for a probe by the Justice Department. The beating was captured on cell phone video by a motorist, and it shows the officer repeatedly hitting Marlene Pinnock after she was found walking barefoot along the 10 freeway. Hutchinson also says although the CHP is investigating, more needs to be done.
There should be a fast-track federal investigation into the beating of Marlene Pinnock because we had no confidence that a law enforcement agency can investigate itself fairly and impartially.
The CHP has made no comment on the call for an outside investigation into the beating.
A vigil tonight in North Hollywood for a 20-year-old man killed by lightning at Venice Beach. Family and friends gathered at St. Charles Borromeo Church to remember Nick Fagnano. He was set to attend USC's Price School of Public Policy in the fall. Fagnano had also played baseball for Notre Dame High in Sherman Oaks. The lightning strike that killed him was the first in at least 7 years at a California beach.
A wildfire burning in the Sierra Nevada foothills east of Sacramento is now 80% contained. Evacuees are returning home as fire officials report good progress on the Sand Fire. 19 homes have been destroyed as the fire raced through 6 square miles. It began Friday and has burned dozens of outbuildings. Okay, we're going to break away right now and go to that press conference. It looks like it's about to get underway. This is outside, just a few feet outside that giant crater. So as they prepare, hopefully we'll get some answers on to how much damage was done. Let's listen in.
Daniel, I'm the Senior Assistant General Manager for the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power's water system. At approximately 3:30 this afternoon, we had a major failure of a piece of major water infrastructure. A 93-year-old, 30-inch in diameter, riveted steel water main failed, resulting in a massive amount of water being released to the city. LA Fire Department, LA Police Department, LA Department of Transportation all responded. Fire Department's done a fabulous job of getting the situation under control until our crews could get here to get the thing shut off. The Police Department's been also extremely helpful, as well as Department of Transportation. Our crews did respond. We initiated the procedure to shut down the main. It's a high-pressure main. It's required to have about 3 different valves shut off. It has to be done in a certain order and at a certain rate so as not to cause further damage to the water system. At this time, the water has been shut off. We'll now begin the process of repairs, and that will go on through the night. I'd like to have Chief Featherstone report for the fire department.
Thank you. Good evening. The fire department received the alarm at about 3:24 this afternoon, ultimately ending up with about 160 firefighters here to handle the situation. We had also deployed our swiftwater rescue teams, our urban search and rescue teams, not knowing what the situation would reveal once we got here. We searched probably over 200 vehicles. We assisted 5 citizens with getting themselves out of their vehicles. At this time, the fire department is assisting with dewatering operations and doing what we can to help UCLA recover from this incident. Chancellor?
My name is Gene Block. I'm Chancellor of UCLA, and unfortunately, UCLA was the sink for this water source. The important thing to remember is that we have no reported injuries, so the most important thing is everybody's safe. Everyone on campus is being looked after. We did have some damage to some of our buildings, most notably Pauley Pavilion has taken quite a bit of water, and 2 of our parking structures also have received a good deal of water, which has created a problem for many of our employees and visitors whose cars are now either underwater or we're not able to get them out for a while. But I want to emphasize again, no injuries, a small portion of campus actually compared to the entire set of activities on campus, but nonetheless, major issue for us. Thank you. I'd like to now ask Councilmember Koretz to say something.
Thank you. Paul Koretz, Council Member CD5, and I'm particularly grateful to the LAPD, the Fire Department, Department of Transportation, DWP for their amazing quick work, and we are fortunate that nobody was injured, nobody was harmed. It appears to be just property damage, which appears to be all at UCLA, unfortunately. Pauley Pavilion and John Wooden Center and other buildings seem to have sustained some damage from flooding. I should mention that now that we have this opportunity to tell you, please avoid Sunset Boulevard near UCLA tomorrow. There is almost no chance that any portion of Sunset Boulevard around UCLA will be open. So do what you can to avoid it. Think of it as Carmageddon on the 405. Find some other route. You don't want to be here tomorrow. Unfortunately, we lost a lot of water, around 35,000 gallons a minute, which is not ideal in the worst drought in the city's history. So we ask everybody to try harder to conserve water. And we're just lucky that considering how dramatic this incident was, that there wasn't any harm done to anybody, and we're very grateful for that.
Mr. McDaniel, do you know what caused this water break?
At this time, we do not know the cause. We're still dewatering the hole that was created by the break, and we will have to study the parts afterwards to determine what the cause was.
Do you know why it took so long to get information from the public? You were having a hard time learning what happened, whether there were any outages, and all these factors.
We were just scrambling. We were trying to get our crews here. It's not the easiest place to get to at rush hour, and trying to assess and figure out for ourselves exactly what the situation was. We do have more than one water main that's in the street here, so it was important for us to determine which main the break was on so we could determine the appropriate valves to shut it off.
Is this a fact of life, a legacy of a city that's been here for centuries?
I think every city that has aging infrastructure has issues like this, and we're no exception, and we're trying to stay on top of it.
We've had 30-inch mains go before, but the amount of water on this is extraordinary. Is there a particular reason why this was going? No disrespect to the councilman. We're hearing estimates now of up to 75,000 gallons a minute at the height. Why is it? Why was this line so highly charged? Why were we getting so much water out of it?
It is a large diameter line, and it is under a fair amount of pressure. It's fed directly from the Stone Canyon Reservoir up at the top of the Santa Monica Mountains. So there was a lot of water coming down the line.
So what is your estimate of how much water was actually lost?
We estimate at this time that we probably lost a total of between 8 to 10 million gallons of water in the entire incident.
And most of that went right into the utility.
Into the storm drain system, and unfortunately some onto the campus.
The actual repair remediation of the main itself, dewatering, digging it out, fixing, getting a road here, any rough estimate from your best people?
Well, we're going to work all night on this, and we'll probably be working into the morning. I'd like to tell you we'd have it fixed by the morning, but I don't think that's really possible. So I think the councilman's advice is very wise. Stay away from sunset tomorrow. We should have something done by the end of the day tomorrow. I feel pretty confident that we can have some portion of the report done.
You're talking about areas underneath in those lines that may have been eroded by the water.
All right, you've been listening to a live press conference from the DWP and then some other officials. Some questions answered. 8 to 10 million gallons lost is the estimate. Obviously, traffic tomorrow morning, Colleen, on Sunset Boulevard.
Avoid that area, absolutely. But the biggest relief, each person came out saying nobody was hurt. They did have 5 people that in the end did need to be rescued from being in their vehicles. But again, no one hurt.
Yeah, a lot of questions to be answered. We hopefully will get more of those. And the process to clean this thing up, to fix this, is going to take weeks, if not months. And we're going to keep you posted. Have a lot more coming up on Eyewitness News later on in this hour, as well as on Eyewitness News at 11 o'clock tonight. And we have breaking news involving an LA sports icon. The Dodgers have just announced Vin Scully will return for the 2015 season. The announcement was just made at the Dodgers-Braves game. The crowd gave Scully a standing ovation after hearing the news, and this is his 66th consecutive season as the voice of the Dodgers baseball. His tenure with the Dodgers is the longest of any sports broadcaster with one team. Scully's career started in 1950 as part of the Brooklyn Dodgers broadcast team. It's amazing.
Wow. Well, much more news straight ahead, including what triggered a wild pursuit in Texas. See how it all came to an end. And
frightening video of trespassers at a railroad bridge, how the 2 women survived.
Not a bad day. Temperatures right around average, but they will change. And, yes, rain chances are in the forecast. Details coming up. Get around.
The movie expected to hit big at the box office this weekend. I'm George Pinocchio. That's in tonight's Hollywood Wrap, plus a special honor for a music star. And Maxim Shmerkovsky makes a Dancing with the Stars announcement. How it affects the show. Next.
Dramatic video of a wild pursuit in Washington State. This was a scene near Seattle after a driver refused to pull over for a traffic stop. Police were able to take out the car's tires with a spike strip, but that did not stop the driver. At one point, he cut through a parking lot driving in the rims and smashed into a couple of parked cars. Even after police boxed him in, he made one last attempt to get away, but could not, and was, as you see, taken into custody.
This is a crazy and frightening story. We're getting a look at incredible video of a train running over two women. And we want to stress first off that they were not seriously hurt, which is absolutely amazing. Take a look. All things considered, it happened in Indiana. This is how it looked to the conductor. The women were trespassing on a trestle 500 feet long and 80 feet high across a lake, so they had basically nowhere to go. They were on a bridge. One woman lies down to the track. The other looks like she might consider jumping, but the first, with the train just 30 feet away, she lies down as well. The train passes over them. The conductor assumes that they had been killed. He contacted police, who found out the women did survive. They got into a nearby car and they just drove away, and they may now face criminal charges.
Wow, how terrifying.
Crazy.
Oh. All right, well, let's go over to meteorologist Jonathan Novak and take our first look at the forecast. Jonathan?
Wow, that was incredible. Yeah, okay, shifting gears. We'll get my head into, well, let's talk about the clouds. Usually it's there anyway. Laguna Beach shot showing some mid and upper level cloud cover. I'm going to tell you why we have that as you look at that beautiful sunset tonight. Why we have that cloud cover, where it's coming from in just a second, but it's not translating into any rain. All the deep moisture is way away from us tonight, but we may see a couple of showers spark up in the next 24 hours. Stay tuned for that. Right now, 88 was our high in downtown, above average. Again, most of the forecast will be above average, but by the end of the work week, things cool down a little bit. All right, 71 at LAX right now. Temperatures elsewhere very warm, nice, mild. We have the high cloud cover in there because as we look off to the west, we have the remnants of Hernan that's moving up to the north. See all this cloud cover here? That is moisture that could translate into a few showers tonight, maybe tomorrow as well in the LA area. Keep that in mind. An isolated sprinkle here or there is in the forecast for tomorrow. More in the 7-day, but overnight we're in the 60s. Very nice, mild start to the day. 68 Pasadena, 67 Simi Valley. Highs tomorrow pretty close to what they were at today. 101 in Palmdale, but 87 in Los Angeles. 80 Inglewood. Mid to upper 90s, still a little toasty over there in the IE. And let's show that 7-day forecast. LA Metro and Orange County, there's that 10% chance of an isolated shower. Morning clouds on Wednesday, and then we cool it down finally into the lower 80s, below average next week on Monday. Valley's IE, mid-90s onto the lower 90s with a slight chance of rain tomorrow. Mountains will keep it dry in the lower 80s to the upper 70s. And a quick look at the high desert. Beautiful, dry, slight chance of rain tomorrow. Otherwise, about 100 degrees. And we'll have more weather coming up in a few minutes. Back to you guys at the desk.
All right, Jonathan. Thank you.
You're welcome.
In tonight's Hollywood Wrap, a Dancing with the Stars favorite makes a big announcement.
Plus a big award for a music star, but first, some major money movie news. Here's George Pinocchio.
It is going to be crowded this weekend because it's shaping up to be a good weekend for superheroes. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy is headed for a potential out-of-this-world opening. The Hollywood Reporter says the film is expected to open to at least $65 million this weekend. It'll be playing in almost 4,100 theaters, which makes it the widest August release in history. There's so much hype here that Marvel and Disney have already announced sequel plans. Chris Ludacris Bridges is about to be honored in a big way for his music career. At next month's BMI R&B Hip Hop Awards, he's getting the President's Award. BMI says it's given to individuals who demonstrate outstanding achievements in songwriting with profound global influence on culture and on the entertainment industry. The group's president says Ludacris' songs reach listeners of all genres, making him a global presence. Ludacris will receive his honor at the Pantages Theater on August 22nd. When Dancing with the Stars returns on September 15th, there will be one less Shmerkovsky on the dance floor. Today on The View, Maxim and Val Shmerkovsky appeared on the panel. When the talk got around to a new season of Dancing with the Stars, the elder Shmerkovsky revealed his plans for the future.
I'm not trying to do LeBron the announcement,
yeah.
You know.
But you're getting a lot of attention though for that.
Yeah, I know, right?
What kind of announcement?
No, it's not a big announcement. I'm done dancing, so I just want to make sure.
No,
I'm done dancing with the stars. I feel like it's time. It's not, you know, as a pro
you
dancer.
leave it on top. Yeah, you want to leave it on
And
top.
this is why I never wanted to make it this public, because this is what I get.
Max won his first Mirrorball last May with Merrill Davis. He praised his fellow pro dancers, saying the show has so much talent. Max used his words carefully, saying he was done with performing on the show. Maybe that could mean he's eyeing another role. We'll have to wait until September to find out. Maybe August.
Okay. All right, George. Thank you. Just ahead, the new smartphone app that could help save your life.
And more in the aftermath of today's massive flooding along Sunset Boulevard and the UCLA campus. Large rats are scurrying around the gardens of the Louvre in Paris, France. The museum has been trying to solve the problem for months. Look at that thing. But in May, finally, they brought in an exterminator. Today, workers poured poison down the rat holes, but it didn't seem to work. Officials say given the size of the public gardens, they can't seem to get rid of the rats. The gardens are popular for picnics, and guests leave behind food, which attracts the rodents.
Of course it does. All right, well, up next, an update on today's massive flooding, a live look at the scene. We're going to take you there, and how the closure of the Sunset Boulevard could affect the morning commute.
And the search for burglars who stole a container with the ashes of a baby.
This is Eyewitness News on LA56 with live breaking news.
Breaking news, a large water main that broke near UCLA has been shut off. Crews are just starting to repair the pipe, and it is going to be a long night for the LADWP. Good evening, I'm Colleen Sullivan.
I'm David Ona. Welcome back to ABC7 Eyewitness News on LA56. Crews are expected to work well into the night repairing a 30-inch diameter water main. That is a live look from Air 7 HD. This main ruptured just before 3:30 this afternoon, spewing 8 to 10 million gallons of water into the streets around UCLA. Eyewitness News reporter Melissa McBride is live in Westwood, where a news conference was just held. Melissa.
And David, where we are, we're about 100 yards away from that major sinkhole that you saw from Air 7's picture. And this is on Sunset Boulevard, very close to Marymount Place. Crews have been in the dewatering stage. They're pumping out all of that water from inside the hole. They're also clearing away chunks of the asphalt, and they're going to be making repairs to it. Now, they say that roughly 8 to 10 million gallons of water gushed out of that main when it broke this afternoon. The pipe was 90 years old, and it created a massive geyser on Sunset Boulevard when it burst. The LADWP says the main was a high-velocity pipe that carries water from the Upper Stone Canyon Reservoir, and it flows at 75,000 gallons per minute. All of that water was flowing onto the UCLA campus and into the storm drains and also out onto Sunset Boulevard, and it has caused some major damage, especially to Pauley Pavilion, which was recently renovated. Several inches of water pooled on the basketball court. The Bruins renovated that arena in 2012 at the cost of $133 million. Water also was flowing down the stairs into parking lots 4 and 7. Several cars there are swamped. Sunset Boulevard, of course, has been shut down all afternoon and will be that way until we hear further from authorities. People are being told to avoid Sunset tomorrow at least.
Our crews did respond. We initiated the procedure to shut down the main. It's a high-pressure main. It's required to have about 3 different valves shut off. It has to be done in a certain order and at a certain rate so as not to cause further damage to the water system. At this time, the water has been shut off. We'll now begin the process of repairs, and that will go on through the night.
And all afternoon we were hearing from a number of residents and from students, people saying, well, why is all this water flowing? We're in the midst of a drought, and why aren't they turning it off immediately? Well, you just heard the explanation why, because if they had done that, they say it would have caused more damage likely to the system. Now, the city has been in the process of replacing aging infrastructure, but there are many decades-old pipes to repair. This one, again, was a 30-inch trunk line, and it was 90 years old. And again, the repairs that are taking place out here on Sunset Boulevard, this is going to be going on throughout the evening. So if your morning commute would normally be to take Sunset Boulevard, you're going to need to find an alternate. It is closed between Hillgard and Veteran. Reporting live in Westwood, I'm Melissa McBride, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Melissa, thank you. Now let's go to Bill Thomas in Air 7 HD to take a look at more of the damage. And speaking of that morning drive tomorrow, Bill.
Yeah, we'll tell you about how to get around that big closure. In the meantime, look at that huge sinkhole on Sunset Boulevard. Looks like a small pond right now, and you can see the damaged pipe below that water. DWP crews, they do have those industrial pumps in place, and they're trying to get that water out there as rapidly as they can. In time, they'll be able to make those repairs and get Sunset Boulevard all patched up. Meantime, Sunset, as you just heard, all blocked off, all lanes on both sides between Hillgard to the east and Veteran to the west. Here's the east closure. Now, for folks coming in from Hollywood or Beverly Hills tomorrow morning, heading westbound on Sunset, you will be detoured south on Hillgard down to Wilshire. You take Wilshire westbound, and that'll take you around the closure. For eastbound commuters coming in from Brentwood, you'll make it through the 405, but you'll have to go south on Veteran or Sepulveda down to Wilshire, and then east on Wilshire. That'll take you right around the campus. And again, one more picture of that huge sinkhole in front of the UCLA campus on Sunset Boulevard. Reporting live from Air 7 HD, I'm Bill Thomas, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Bill, thank you. And here is the very latest on the water main break and flooding in Westwood. The LADWP says the pipe that broke was 93 years old and was a large 30-inch diameter high-pressure water main. 2 parking structures were flooded, and firefighters say a considerable number of cars are underwater on the bottom levels of those structures. Pauley Pavilion also flooded with several inches of water on the court. Crews will be working through the night to vacuum up all that water, and the LA Fire Department says 5 people had to be rescued from their cars. There are no injuries reported, and water, again, gushing at a rate of about 35,000 gallons per minute, and that adds up to be between 8 to 10 million gallons of water. And of course, we heard the DWP spokesperson talking about 75,000 gallons of water that was leaking per minute. So, of course, he still said it was between 8 to 10 million of gallons of water lost. And the cause of the break is not known, and repairs are just beginning. Sunset will not be open for the morning commute, so plan on another route to take. And of course, stay with Eyewitness News for continuing coverage of the Westwood water main break and massive flooding. Get updates anytime at ABC7.com or follow ABC7 on Facebook and Twitter.
Other news now, another devastating loss for a family still coping with grief. A burglar made off with an urn filled with their baby's ashes. As Inland Empire Bureau Chief Rob McMillan tells us, they hope the thief will show some compassion and return it.
And I was supposed to stay posted to protect him when he was inside of me, but I had no control over it.
For Tania Hill, the last few months have been simply devastating. First, to lose her baby boy during childbirth.
We got him cremated, and I brought his urn over here so, you know, they could be safe and so he could just rest.
That was our firstborn, and we've been through so much.
And if that wasn't difficult enough for the mother and father, last night there was a break-in at this house on Acacia Avenue in Hemet. Yes, thousands of dollars in property was stolen, but also the urn carrying the ashes of their baby.
And for them to take him. And I don't know where my baby is at.
You kidnapped my son, dead or alive. His urn is gone, and you know, it's just so hurtful.
This is actually their parents' home. The urn was stolen from this nightstand. This is what it looks like.
The urn doesn't have any value to anyone, but you know, it's a really big value to, you know, the young kids. They're growing up. You know, they tried to raise a family, but you know, they eventually lost the baby.
If you don't want to return it to us, take it to a local police station.
All I'm asking for is my son's ashes back.
They can just drop him off somewhere, call and say where it's at. They don't even have to say who they are. I just want my baby.
A police report has been filed. The family is pleading with the thief or thieves to give the urn back. No questions asked. In Hemet, Rob McMillan, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
And up next, meet a California man who went cross-country for a cure for his beloved dog.
And a young girl comes face-to-face with the man accused of kidnapping her and holding her captive for months.
Can check out some of that mid and high level moisture that's streamed in today. What does that mean for our forecast? Maybe rain. I'll tell you about it coming up. Stick around.
A dramatic day in a New Hampshire courtroom. A young woman face to face with a 34-year-old man now under arrest, charged with kidnapping her. But exactly what happened to Abigail Hernandez, how she disappeared, and what happened during the 9 months she was gone remains a mystery. ABC's Brian Smith takes a closer look.
Today, for the first time since coming home to her family, Abigail Hernandez faced the man prosecutors say kidnapped and held her against her will for 9 long months. At his arraignment today, Nathaniel Kibbe, held on $1 million bail, appeared cuffed and shackled, facing felony kidnapping charges that could bring 7 years in prison. Authorities revealing few details about Abby's return, but vowing to press forward with the investigation.
If there is additional evidence that other crimes will be committed, those charges will be brought.
Abby disappeared walking home from school in October. When she returned home to her family last week, police released this sketch. Kirby was arrested Monday. Police searching his residence, including this mysterious metal storage container 30-some miles away from Abby's home.
Nathaniel Kibbe's residence now an active crime scene as police try to figure out if Abigail Hernandez was there all along, leaving some of his neighbors rattled. What did you hear?
I heard that he's kind of creepy, not to really go by his house at night by myself.
Who told you that?
My parents.
And friends of the Hernandez family happy her alleged captor is behind bars.
I think the biggest thing is just a sense of relief that he's not out there anymore.
Tonight, Abby Hernandez is back home with her family by her side. Ryan Smith, ABC News, Conway, New Hampshire.
A Bakersfield man went across country for a cure, and it was all for the dog he loves. Shortly after adopting him, Scott Clare found out his new pup, Bucko, had ventricular tachycardia, a rare condition where a dog has a rapidly fast and sometimes irregular heartbeat. The only option was to go cross-country to Ohio, where Bucko underwent a surgery that has never been done before.
I went to the hospital. They're open all night. I went to the hospital, I think, at 2 or 3 in the morning and just sat with him because, you know, I couldn't sleep anyway.
Well, he loves his dog. 8 hours and more than $10,000 later, Bucko made it through. So far, he's doing great. He goes to weekly checkups to the vet to make sure his heartbeat stays regular.
Wow, what a good dog owner. Meteorologist Jonathan Novak is up next with a look at what's ahead for the weekend.
And no noisy children allowed at one California restaurant tonight. Parents and diners are sounding off. A restaurant in Northern California is definitely not kid-friendly. In fact, it has a policy of no noisy children allowed. The sign outside the Old Fisherman's Grotto is in Monterey says it all. No strollers, no high chairs, no booster chairs. The owner makes no bones about it. He says if you don't like his policy, eat somewhere else. Tourists say he's sending the wrong message.
I would probably not go there to not deal with that sort of atmosphere, and it surprises me because this is a family place to go with your kids for vacation.
If a place has rules, that's what the rules are. Either you go in and you abide by the rules, or you find a place that's more suitable to your dining.
I wonder if he has children. The restaurant owner.
I don't know.
Sheikh says the policy, maybe he does, and that's the whole reason why he has this policy. He says he's been in place for 2 years now. He says he's been a tourist attraction for more than 20 years, and his restaurant continues to grow. So he's not paying for it yet.
Wow, well, we both have 3-year-olds, and they're not always fun taking to restaurants.
They're quiet.
I couldn't go because I need a booster seat, so I couldn't. I wouldn't be able to go.
Well, let's talk about our forecast.
Let me fix the book here.
All right, yeah.
Good job. It's not that bad. It's all right. Average high. Temperatures were pretty good today. Not bad. Very similar to yesterday. Had some high clouds, though, if you noticed, and those are significant. I'm going to tell you why. A little bit of moisture coming in from the south. From what was a hurricane a while back, and then a tropical storm, and now it's just a remnant low of Hernan that is down to the south. But it didn't translate to rain today. All the rain, the real deep moisture, off to the east, off to the north, all that monsoonal stuff is off in New Mexico, Arizona. So we're looking at a dry evening for the most part. There's a slim risk for a shower to creep into the LA area tonight and tomorrow. This is a time lapse. You just see some of that moisture, okay? So that is connected, and you'll see this in just a second on the satellite image, with those remnants of Hernan down to the south. 75 degrees in Long Beach, light winds, beautiful downtown, 74. Good numbers around the area, 88 in Palmdale, nothing extreme. Yes, it was above average for just about everybody, and we'll stay there for a few days, but no real heat wave, which is nice in the next 7 days. 83 Riverside, Hemet, 73 San Clemente, and 80, we already said 88 Palmdale. I like Palmdale. Hey, why not say it twice? Satellite and radar combination, you see this flow right here. That's high pressure, but it's not pulling in any of that deep monsoonal moisture into our area. That's all staying at bay. But if you notice here on the left of your screen, you will see this moisture, the mid and upper level cloud cover that is getting pulled in right there. That is what is left over of Tropical Storm Hernan. Now that could play into a few showers. Slight chance, 10% tonight and tomorrow. And as we're going through the weekend, we will see that monsoonal flow come back in, and that would mean the mountain areas may be getting a couple of showers. And in fact, you can see the low right there, and you see a little bit of energy along with it tonight and in through tomorrow. So just keep that in mind. It could be something that plays out in the shape of an isolated shower. All right, nothing heavy. 69 tomorrow morning in Mission Viejo, 72 Irvine, warm. Ontario, 71. 71 in Glendale, not completely sunny, morning clouds and some of that upper level cloud cover we were just talking about. 91 Simi Valley, 87 in LA, 100 to 101 from Lancaster to Palmdale, and 80 in Wrightwood. 7-day forecast. Check it out. LA Metro Orange County, we got the clouds in the morning and a slim chance of a sprinkle. 87, 87, 87. That's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday before we cool down average on the weekend. A little bit of beach fog. And next week, the marine layer comes back with moisture coming in. Cooler weather ahead for next week. It's a totally different pattern change next week. But for the next 5 days at least here, pretty warm in the valleys and IE. Then you're down to about 89, 90 degrees next week. Slight chance of rain on Wednesday. Quick look at the mountains. 80 for the next 3 days with a slight risk, or I should say a slight risk of rain this weekend. And then a slight risk tomorrow in the high desert with temperatures around 100 degrees or so. Dallas has the latest ABC7 at 11. Back to the desk.
Jonathan, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And a new app wants to change the way you see a doctor, putting the power in the patient's hand through their smartphone. Doctors on Demand allows anyone to dial in a diagnosis without leaving the comfort of their home. The app allows users in 47 states, including California, to get medical help in real time through their smartphones from a pool of 1,400 board-certified doctors.
I was able to get medical attention while on vacation. It was unbelievable, and the service was very good. He was very thorough. I didn't feel rushed.
It's really important in today's world where all we hear about is the shortage of primary care doctors and difficulty with access to care.
There are limitations, however. It's not meant for more urgent emergencies or hard-to-diagnose symptoms.
As a kid growing up in Inglewood, Byron Scott used to sneak into the old Forum and dream he'd someday play for the Lakers. He lived that dream, and today he's starting another. He's officially the 25th head coach in the history of his great franchise. Scott's patience was tested as he was interviewed multiple times in the past 3 months. The 53-year-old has had 3 other head coaching jobs directing the Nets, the Hornets, and the Cavs. But coming home to be part of a franchise where he won 3 titles is clearly a dream come true.
This has been a dream of mine for so long. It's a dream come true to be here sitting here talking to you guys today and be introduced as the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. And as I told Mitch and Jim in our meetings, that the passion and the love that I have for this organization is second to none. The only thing that I regret is that Dr. Buss isn't here today.
Dr. Buss passed away last year, but some of Scott's former teammates were on hand today to show support.
It's great that LA takes care of its own like this, and it's wonderful to see Byron back here. His confidence and leadership and knowledge of the game will definitely benefit this team, and hopefully this is a point where things start to turn around.
We're excited. We wish we could put on the uniform for you and help you, but but we're here supporting you, and we will support you throughout. And again, congratulations to the Laker organization. You chose the right guy.
Vin Scully joined the Brooklyn Dodgers broadcast team in 1950, and to commemorate his 65 years of service, the team gave away the Vin Scully 65th anniversary microphone at today's game against the Braves. And tonight, he gave Dodgers fans another treat as he announced that he will return for a 66th season next year. In Baltimore, Angels taking on the Orioles, and the Halos down a couple of runs, but Josh Hamilton, he brings them back. In the 5th inning, Hamilton with a solo shot to center, his 6th of the year. He cuts the lead to 6-5. And then the 7th inning, Hamilton with a slow grounder to the shortstop. J.J. Hardy's indecision allows Hamilton to beat the throw to first and Mike Trout to score the tying run. Game goes to extra innings, and in the 12th, Manny Machado sends Orioles fans home happy with a walk-off home run. Baltimore has beaten the Angels 3 out of 4 games.
And more news straight ahead here at 8 o'clock and ahead tonight on Eyewitness News at 11 on KABC. We are live in Westwood with the very latest on the cleanup of a large water main break flooding parts of the UCLA campus and shutting down Sunset. We will hear from people caught in the middle of the chaos and see what is being done to dry out the recently renovated Poly Pavilion. That story and all the late breaking news on Southern California's #1 late newscast, Eyewitness News at 11 on KABC. Thank you so much for joining us for Eyewitness News at 8 here on LA56. Law and Order SVU is next on LA56.
And Eyewitness News continues at 11 p.m. on ABC7 and anytime on ABC7.com. We'll see you tomorrow night right here at 8 o'clock on LA56. Have a great night.